Jim Guerrera here with SCN Insights Team Talk. And with me today is SCN practice leader and search consultant Brendan Moriarty, who is based in the greater Chicagoland. And Brendan oversees our consumer electronics practice and also works extensively in the mechanical component space. Brendan, how are you today?
Great, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining. Would like to hear about your story. What can you tell me about yourself? Where are you from originally? Tell me a little bit about your upbringing and your childhood.
Yeah, sure. I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, so home of the Indy 500. Yeah, great place to grow up. Yeah, and then went to the University of Notre Dame for undergrad in mechanical engineering, where you and I met, and worked for a couple years in consulting engineering in the greater Chicagoland area. Got a master's degree in mechanical engineering from Purdue, and worked in engineering and then on into technical sales for the better part of 20 years, primarily focused in consumer electronics, so mobile devices and laptops and enterprise electronics as well. And yeah, that's kind of the
That's
quick story.
that's the story. So tell me about your days back in Indiana. What was your childhood like? Where did you grow up, and what did you do as a child?
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up on the east side of Indianapolis, which it's how do you want to say, a lot of pride on the east side of Indianapolis, right? Pride on the east side. So there's not that many areas within Indianapolis that have a distinct geography other than the east side. So if you hear of people from the east side, they kind of are very proud of being from the east side of Indianapolis. So it's kind of a unique thing. There's not really a similar dynamic for people from the north side or west side or south side. But yeah, so grew up on the east side. Yeah, it was a great upbringing. Yeah, just a lot of family. I have four older brothers and then a large family of cousins that lived about 5 blocks away. My father's brother, who unfortunately recently passed away. I'll be going to the funeral this weekend. But yeah, it's great. A lot of good family connections. A cousin who is a Roman Catholic priest. He said my wedding, and just a lot of good family memories growing up in Indianapolis.
A big friendly Irish family. That's the only kind, though, I think, isn't it? So you grew up in Indianapolis, and then you went to Notre Dame, and you studied mechanical engineering, which is a very difficult major. And I can share that you were a General Motors scholar, which was bestowed to very, very select few individuals based on academic achievement. What can you tell me about that award?
Yeah, very proud. Obviously, it's unique in that so like middle of sophomore year, right? So I didn't come in as a General Motors scholar, right? So it's around about probably fall of sophomore year. I was approached actually by one of my professors at Notre Dame, my thermodynamics professor, and he said, "Hey, this is something that's offered for junior and senior year. You should consider to apply." And I did. Obviously, a very good, tough competition. And yeah, it's based on obviously, your, how do you want to say, academic career to that point, right? How well you did in classes. What did you do outside the classroom? So at that point, I was, I think, active in the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME, our chapter at Notre Dame. So I eventually went on to become the president, I think, my junior year. But before then, I think I was secretary or treasurer, I think, something like that. So, and then, just being active in the hall and other, outside activities as well. So obviously academics is a big part of it, but also your other activities as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, what did you do when you left Notre Dame?
Sure. So, yeah, it was 1993, so the economy was a little bit uneven at that time. General Motors initially said, they would love to. They did give me a job offer. Obviously, it was in the lovely area of Detroit, Michigan, which I'm not originally from, and I did also have an opportunity to join an engineering consulting firm in Chicago. And I was very thankful, obviously, for General Motors, but I chose the opportunity in Chicago, a little bit closer to home. And, the being young, obviously, the consulting aspect of it was appealing, right? In terms of, okay, having a variety of different projects to work on and develop my skills. I just felt that was a better opportunity for me. So yeah, worked in
Yeah,
Chicago for 2 years, primarily in power plant consulting.
yeah, and it worked out well. What did you do from there?
Yeah, so went back to school at Purdue to get my master's in mechanical engineering, a thesis master's. So it was my thesis was in situ bonding, joining of metals and plastics via injection molding. So not only did I take the master's coursework in mechanical engineering, but I also defended a master's, and so I had to do research on joining of metals and plastics primarily. The application there would be in biomedical applications. So plastics and metals for uh, you know biomedical artificial hips and artificial knees, things of that sort. So yeah, it was a very good learning experience. And after 2 years, I realized I did not want to be a college professor, so I went on to back into industry.
What did you do then?
Yeah, so I joined a company. At that time, it was known as Keel Engineering, which later became United Plastics Group, as a manufacturing engineer. So heavily involved in consumer electronics, so a supplier to Motorola, among other companies. So it was a great experience, manufacturing, getting that exposure and learning about the consumer electronics industry, how fast paced it is. It was a great learning experience for a couple of years.
What did you do after that role?
Yeah. So after that, I was recruited away by a company called Brady Corporation. Brady actually was a supplier to me at that time of mechanical components, primarily adhesives and gaskets, and what we call die cut products. So I was recruited away to be a technical salesperson, and that technical aspect of it, or that sales aspect, I should say, was really attractive to me, right? Because I enjoy meeting new people and learning about new technologies. So I got to be able to apply a lot of the technical aspects of it, because it was primarily calling on mechanical engineers who was specifying these products, but still have that personal aspect, right, of being able to meet new people and learn about the challenges that they face and see, can we provide a solution that will help them achieve their goals for their products.
What did you learn from that experience? Your first entree into the sales world.
Yeah, yeah. I would say it was a bit of uh, it, you know, to toot my own horn. I think it came naturally. And as I was a mechanical engineer previously, manufacturing engineer at United Plastics Group, there was a lot of client interaction, right? So I was interacting with clients, helping them from a manufacturing engineering standpoint to, you know, bring their projects to light. So it was a natural transition to become more of a technical salesperson, right? So I already had that client-facing experience. So now it was maybe instead of me doing the engineering, I would, I had the knowledge, the mechanical knowledge to know, what it would take to make the products that our clients were designing, but it was more the client-facing aspect at Brady.
So you had a lot of success there, and you decided to make a change. Where did you go then?
Yeah, yeah. so I was recruited away from Brady by another company by the name of, at that time, known as WorldMark. So a direct competitor of Brady's die cut division. So WorldMark is a very well-known supplier to primarily into BlackBerry, and they were growing at the time with a number of the consumer electronics companies in Silicon Valley area. So
you don't hear that name very much anymore, BlackBerry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're still around, but yeah, they kind of came up with BlackBerry, and then obviously transitioned into a lot of the the Google, Microsoft, Apples of the world, and then obviously I had a position also at Motorola as well. So it's a great opportunity for me to diversify my exposure, right, in terms of having exposure to more of the Silicon Valley consumer electronics names at WorldMark, which eventually was acquired by CCL Industries.
Fantastic. And then you decided to take a big change in your career, a leap of faith into the search consulting world. Why did you make that change?
Yeah. Obviously a big part of it is working with people that you like, right? So you and I knew each other for a long time, and so that's a big attractor. Similar to my change going from, I'll say, mechanical engineering into more of a key account manager, business unit manager role, sales role. This is an opportunity to continue that, right, and kind of a client-facing role as practice leader, but still have my hands or fingers on the pulse of the technology, right? So, knowing about not only consumer electronics solutions that are coming up, but also the engineered materials that go into that, right? So, the die cut products, the pressure-sensitive adhesives, silicone, rubbers, and other engineered materials that go into those components that make those consumer electronic products work.
Yeah, so it's interesting because of your experience in the industry and your technical background, you have truly become a thought leader in leading thought and leading ideas and leading insight as to what's happening in the space. And what's interesting is that on social media and some of our website activity, every single day you launch something interesting and provide some insight regarding what is happening in the broad stroke consumer electronics and or mechanical component space. And that's exceptional. It takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of understanding of how things work to make that happen. So, that's a credit to you. Now, what we've seen in the broad stroke manufacturing and in consumer electronics space is that the big companies are still pushing out product. Apple, Google, Microsoft, and then a lot of the companies are fighting for that business. What do you see in terms of the growth of consumer electronics? Is there anything that you can speak to that in terms of the industry and where the products have been and where they're heading?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously a lot of it is based on the consumer experience, right? You pick up an electronic device, how does it feel in your hand? Is it intuitive in terms of how to use that? So a lot of that is driven certainly by software, but a lot of that software is enabled by the hardware that goes into that, right? So you have to have those high-powered semiconductors. You need, high bandwidth antennas to be able to connect you to the 5G infrastructure that is being built out now, right? You need high-speed memory to be able to store a photo, perhaps, or maybe even a high-speed processor, right, to to enable a lot of the artificial intelligence or virtual reality that's being adapted into your mobile device now. So yeah, it's really exciting times, certainly in terms of the evolution, say, of handheld electronics, consumer electronics, even the integration of consumer electronics into the automotive world, right? So, we just had an announcement that Lucid Motors came out today and announced their new sedan. And a big aspect of that announcement was their integration of Amazon Alexa into their automobile. So you're seeing, kind of blurred lines of, a lot of integration, say, of consumer electronics into automotive, into other areas of the other industries within our economy.
Yeah, and it's interesting. 4 years ago or so, when you and I were talking about this career path, it was clear at that time that there was going to be a movement of the vehicles into the consumer electronics space and or from the electronic space into the vehicle space. And it made total sense to pursue that business. There's so much connective tissue between the two. And we really weren't in the consumer electronics space prior to your arrival. And so, to your credit, what you have done is you have completely opened up a new frontier of business for SCN. And for that, I'm going to be forever indebted to you. But what can you speak about where you see the business going in terms of your development with the clients? And then why would clients want to work with you? What are some things that you do beyond just the industry knowledge that would make them want to do business with Brendan Moriarty?
Sure, yeah. I mean, obviously, we're driving value for our clients, right, in terms of, having those relationships with maybe the passive job seekers, the people out there that maybe are the high achievers, right? We know those people. They may not be actively looking for a job, right? But when we come across a client who has a need for a new VP with a certain niche, maybe combination of not only the product knowledge, but also maybe the process engineering knowledge, as well as the right degree or background in that regard. We've got those relationships, right? And then we've got an excellent hand-built database that helps us zero in on the best potential fit for those, depending on what the criteria are that the client is looking for. And I think we have an exceptional process. We're very process-driven. To not only discover those candidates, so it starts with the discovery, right? To say, okay, here's the criteria that the client needs, and we'd like to talk about must-haves, right? These are the must-haves for this position. We translate those into very specific search criteria that we're able to identify in our database and through other publicly available databases. The right candidates, and then we've got a process that vets them to make sure that they are viable candidates for our client. And then it's the follow-up, right? It's not only finding the right candidate, but then it's a two-way street. It's got to be a motivated candidate, right? So it's helping our clients, helping sell their brand, right? So we like to do business with good brands. A good brand is easier to sell to a person to say, because it's one of the three most, I don't want to say stressful things that you can do in your life, right? Which is maybe getting married, buying a home, and changing your job, right? And so we're asking these people, and oftentimes they are very successful people. They've had successful careers, maybe a long-term career at one company, to say, hey, this is a great career opportunity for you to join this other company, right? So, the people that work there, our clients, they know it. right? They've lived it, right? So in some respects, they say, "Oh, why wouldn't you want to join our company?" Well, okay, yeah, the high performers are probably may have some of that already at their existing company. So it's I think we do a very good job of communicating on behalf of our clients the benefits of making a career change and helping those people understand how those opportunities that our clients present to them are aligned with the motivations for change that we uncover in our very first conversations with the people that we're presenting to our clients.
That's a good way of summing it up. When someone chooses to work with you, work with Brendan Moriarty, what do they get? What are some things that they can expect?
Sure, yeah. So not only the things that we've spoken about, the process, the hand-built database, the industry connections, but it's also, I think, the understanding of their products, right? So, I've got that technical knowledge, right? I'm a mechanical engineer, but I had an electrical engineer the other day. I was talking to him about a position at a semiconductor company, and he said, "Hey, I talk to a lot of recruiters, but I really appreciate you because you understand what I'm talking about, right?" It's a not an easy position to fill. The client has a strict set of criteria that they're looking to fill, and I've learned more about that, and that's the exciting thing for me. I get to learn more about semiconductors and antennas and some of the RF radio frequency aspects of electrical engineering, and it's exciting for me. And it also, this position has some 5G aspects to it, right? So we're specifically looking for an electrical engineer, an RF engineer who can help them design their products for 5G. So it's new technology. So that's what you get. Some technical understanding.
Yeah, and I can speak to it. I've seen some of those job descriptions of some of the positions that you work on, and I'm not going to say that I understand exactly what they're looking for there. So you're able to break that down and simplify it, and I appreciate it, and I know that our clients do as well. So Brendan, what should a client expect from you in terms of the actual search, how you conduct a search, and some of the things that you do when you take on an assignment from them?
Sure, yeah. Well, we called it search consulting for a reason, right? We're able to look at a list of requirements, criteria from our client, and really give them feedback in terms of, okay, it's a process, right? Making sure we understand what it is they're looking for, what's important, what are the must-haves, and then giving them consulting, right, in terms of, okay, if you're going to limit it to these degrees, that's going to maybe cut down your candidate pool, right? And we might maybe consult with them and say, okay, have you considered maybe this, if you're looking for just chemical engineers, maybe would you consider a material science background, or maybe a chemistry background? Or maybe it's looking at, other ways to take what might be initially a very stringent search and giving options to the client in terms of maybe helping them, find the best fit candidate for the position. So it's very much a consulting process, a two-way dialogue with our clients.
Yeah, that's incredible. What about the current climate? Is there anything you can speak about that?
Sure. Obviously, we're here in 2020 right now with what about maybe 2/3 of the way through the year. So, with the certain COVID situation going on right now, some clients have certainly, cut back, have been a little bit cautious with their hiring. But many clients are continuing full speed ahead, right? Because they understand this is our situation that we're in right now, right? And so they're adapting. They're continuing with hiring, right? They understand if they're going to grow their business to make the most of the opportunities that exist, they need the right people. And so, we've got clients that, they've just adjusted their process, right? So, when they're looking for, say, a business manager or a sales manager, they're adjusting their process in terms of, okay, how do you sell over the internet, right? Because maybe perhaps people aren't allowing face-to-face meetings with their clients under this current situation. So we're able to adapt to that, right? We're able to vet for the right people that have those skills to not only sell face-to-face, but also to sell in, across multiple platforms, right? Through LinkedIn and through email and over the phone and, participating in virtual trade shows. So, those types of candidates that really know how to get the job done in this challenging business environment. So yeah, if you want to grow your business, there are lots of clients out there that are hiring now. And so, it hasn't changed, right? That need for growth still remains there. So, and people can be one of your best assets. We can help you link up with the right people.
Absolutely. And you've done it as well as anybody. And what's also hard to do in business, probably the hardest thing to do, at least in our line of work, is to start in an area that's brand new and then to grow a practice through adding value and providing consulting and just selling, really, to a large degree. And your whole desk that you manage, your whole practice, did not exist prior to you arriving. So, we can take it for granted sometimes because, we're just caught up in the day-to-day and we're running hard and we're just worrying about what's in front of us and doing what we need to do to take care of what's important and urgent. But you have developed something from nothing, and it's starting to blossom and it's starting to thrive, and it's a true privilege to see, and it's a true privilege to work with you. I know that the best is yet to come.
Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity, and we've got a great team, yourself included, and all the people in the main office there. So, yeah, I'm very thankful, obviously, for our clients, the clients that continue to hire and to continue to engage with us. I know that we can help them grow their business in engineering and sales, and project management, and quality across a number of different segments of their hiring needs.
Yep.
Onward and upward from here, buddy.
That's right, indeed.
Yeah, Jim Guerrero with SCN Team Talk with Brendan Moriarty. Thank you.